Perhaps are the Gen Z generation a little too unreasonable when it comes to maybe things like their ability to rise in a company? So in other words, I've been in clients where they say, can you tell me exactly in how many years I'm going to become a vice president? And back in our day, or perhaps from our time, like I mean, we may have asked that, but there was no guarantee, right? And so I think things like, I want to know, how quickly will I rise? Um, I want to have a boss, a good boss, and that's pretty legit. But I mean, if you have a 40-year career or a 45-year career, right? There's a good chance that you may not always get like the best boss or the best mentor or the best coach,
Right.
right? So from your experience, like, where's the happy medium? In other words, do you sense that in some ways, even companies, I mean, kind of some of the posture or some of the steps that they take, they have to grapple with some of these other realities? Like, I think what you said made sense, but I'm just kind of flipping it from the company's point of view.
Yeah. I think it's a terrific question, a terrific conversation. And what excites me about what I believe about this is that it is solvable. It is something that companies can do. It requires some creativity and changing of things, but I think it is a solvable issue. So the reality, the way I see it, is again, a lot of companies, there's not a ton of creativity in terms of progress. You basically get hired, and then your next step is to get promoted. And there could be a 2 to 3 to 5 year gap. And yeah, you do those annual reviews that I mentioned and say, yeah, you're doing pretty good at this, and you're doing okay at this, and you're doing poorly, you need to improve on this. And that's kind of all you get. Those are the only milestones in that, or really there aren't milestones, I guess is what I'm saying. Again, related to what I previously mentioned, Gen Z is very used to levels and progress and points and gamification elements. And so it's not that, and yes, your stat is very right. I think it's like 40% of Gen Z expects to get a promotion within the first year of working there. And people, again, it's kind of an alarming stat. Like I get it. I get why people have an intense reaction to it.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it's getting a little distracted by this idea of promotion. What I believe that stat is really saying is they want to see that they're making progress, that they're growing, that they aren't at the same place year one as they are at year two, et cetera. So the big thing I encourage companies to look at is how can we essentially gamify this process, to use kind of a fun term, and to make it seem more exciting to everyone. The reality is we employees are making progress all the time on different skills, on different projects. It just takes a matter of their manager or their company creating systems to recognize that. So it can be, there's some really neat, you can get into some HR tools that have some of this built in, or gamification tools. But I like to stress this can be very simple. It can be as simple as a Word doc or a PowerPoint slide that says, here are the 4 or 5 skills that are really critical to your job. And here's where I would rate you where you're currently at. You're at a 80% on this. You're at a 70% on this. You're at a 90%. Here are the 3 or 4 steps you can take in the next quarter to get to 100% on this skill. All of a sudden now they have so much more information. They have a better sense of where they're coming from, and how they're being perceived professionally. And then recognizing that the return, again, companies, the traditional way of doing business is the legacy way, if you will. It's slow. Like you might have a once a year gala, right? And you rent a ballroom, and some of the top employees get it recognized, a lot of don't. And that's kind of it. And studies have shown, and you may have the exact stats, but that wears off very quickly, oftentimes within weeks. Whereas people who are being recognized on a regular weekly basis, hey, you did a nice job on that report. That actually has more staying power longer term. And so again, not just fixating on the hey, you're getting hired, hey, here's your 5-year promotion opportunity, but showing that progress throughout is I believe the way to really help them understand how they're being perceived, and to gamify in a way that improves communication both ways.